Good morning, friends. Good morning. I think the numbers may not look very big, but the type of quality of people, according to me, is the most important. And therefore, I must compliment all of you who have taken the trouble to come here, because I think it's important for us to share how it happens. A little bit was mentioned by Swapnil also, that it is the legacy which is very important. Therefore, when we are keeping people at different levels, we look at the family background. The bringing up is so critical that the bringing up creates that character which continues even if some people are going in the wrong direction. I've seen that over a period, with that background, they come back to the right channel. Therefore, I'm very happy that all of you have taken the trouble to come. Also, I told him that let's have people, instead of having some VIP speaker who will speak about Ramkrishna Bajaj, who he knows nothing about. He may have read and just said, I said, let's have people who have actually interacted with him. See, a person like Swapnil has never met him, but by reading he could actually mention a lot of things about him, which anybody can speak. But when we have people like them who are there, who have interacted with him for so many years and so many times, those nuances that you will hear is something which becomes something which we can carry back. So let me start by saying when 57 years ago the thought came to Ramkrishna ji that we should do something to gain the trust of the consumer and simultaneously improve the image of business, he put forward his suggestions. Unfortunately, his ideas were looked at with skepticism. Many discouraged him and showed little interest. That to the time when there was a shortage economy. I'm so happy that Mr. Hari Bhakti has taken the trouble to come. That shows his love and affection for Ramkrishna ji. Does he prefer to sit down or does he prefer
I will sit down and let it.
I think down. ऊपर ठीक है? Let him sit in the wheelchair only here, no?
Yeah.
That's much better.
Right next to the stage.
Yeah, I think so.
Quite troubled him.
नहीं wheelchair यहाँ ले आइए.
और hand microphone भी है ना?
And you can speak on the hand mic. Very happy.
Break लगा.
It's okay. Jagdeep bhai, time.
पीछे का break लगा दो.
Just उनको जरा पीछे.
Most people would be quite happy to sit downstairs, but you see the type of attitude. This whole thing of, no, I'm perfectly okay, normal, I want to come up on the stage. He goes to office every day, just for information. So when Ramkrishna ji decided to create this thing, so obviously there was a disagreement at that time. It was a shortage economy. Most of you don't understand what the shortage economy means because today, correct? At that time, for getting a Bajaj scooter, you have to wait 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
So when you go to America and say 8 to 10 years, they don't understand what we are talking about. Even today's generation, if you say 8 to 10 years, if you have to wait for 2 days, you get very angry that, why is the delivery of Swiggy taking more than 2 hours? So with that background, it was very important that time when there was a black market going on. If there's a shortage, there's going to be black market. Whether it's a tomato which now is not, nobody is buying at 15 rupees also, which went up to 200 rupees, shows that, the shortage economy, the business people take advantage. And therefore, when that happened, there was no supporter of Ramkrishna ji. So he went and met people like J.R.D. Tata, S.P. Godrej, Arvind Mafatlal, Keshav Mehndra, Harish Mehndra and other stalwarts, Fakhruddin Khurakiwala, Godrej and others. All the top 36 members he created and formed in 1966 on 2nd of October. That was Gandhi Jayanti Day. That was when the CFBP was formed. As he correctly said, it was earlier called FTPA, Fair Trade Practice Association, but then we made it into Consumer CFBP, which is now the existing name. Now it's very important to understand that at that time, people said this will not work. How can a consumer be taken care by the business people? Business people are there to make their money and their profit. How can the CFBP take care of the interest of the consumer? And that's where the role was played, and that's why it was something where Ramkrishna ji and the team of CFBP went around teaching people how to create the bodies kept so that no black marketing would take place. It's not that it happened and everything happened, but the direction is what we are talking about. That we tried to say that can we, as business people, at that time, in the 60s, India was a different country. While she was independent, it was still early years, and she was making effort to establish herself in business and industry. She was finding her feet. In those times, fortunately, unfortunately, there was no internet. We all reached out to our good old newspaper or the radio. There was no TV that time. For the news and information, we didn't have much choice, and radio for all the news and information only. We didn't have much choice either. It was mainly the Times of India or Indian Express. So the Times of India was there at that time also.
Yes.
And Vikesh has been a past director, and this Times of India publication has come out with this title of Fair Business Practices. So you can imagine, it's been 130 years now? 175 years, wow. So people who follow good practices continue, and all the names which are there, if you look at these names, all of them who have followed fair business practices have survived. And a lot of people who have come in and made money short term have disappeared. So long run, my father used to say that not only it gives you good image, but gives you more profit. This is something which everybody thought that, if you are going to be straightforward, honest, today if you go and buy a product or anything, the trust and this thing is so important. You can get some premium pricing also, because people trust you that, okay, you are going to give a good product, and therefore to that extent you get a premium, and therefore to that extent you make more profit rather than less profit. People say if you are ethical, you will make less profit. That's where there was a disagreement. And at that time, as I mentioned, that there were only two newspapers, the Times of India and Indian Express in English, and few regional papers. Those days we believed the written word. Our consumers heard about any new product first in the radio or saw it in in the newspaper. They had to rely on their own judgment. There was no social media influencers to tell them how good or bad a product is and service was. Today we can't even imagine living in such an information poor world. If you want to find out how good or bad a product or service is, we look at the reviews of on the website and check the number of star rating. And there are so many other ways to find out. Back then, there was nothing like that available. And therefore the responsibility of CFBP was very, very strong to see that that it was only an organization that looked after the consumer's interest. We had the Consumer Guidance Society and Apna Bazaar and others which were there to take care of the interest of the consumer. But there was a necessity to have a body which is from the angle of the business people who look after the interest of the consumer. And even today, this is the only organization, CFBP, which looks after the interest of the consumer. There is no other body which is there. Also, Ramkrishna said, if I am going to have only business people in that founding committee, then of course we are going to have still a bias towards business. And therefore we had people like Vishnubai Hari Bhakti as a chartered accountant, as a independent person. We had a lot of lawyers like Tanubai Desai and others. And we had Swaran Kohli, who could not make it. She's also 92 years old. She said 2 days back that I will come, but unfortunately she's got fever, so she could not make it. But she was the one who told me that it was so difficult at that time, that how can you join a business organization? She was a lawyer and a very strong consumer activist. To have her to agree to be part of this program showed our intention to see that we are able to give proper support and to be able to take care of the consumer. So because of this, a certain amount of change in the consumer was good music.
Interlude.
No, this is when she says, now you better stop. Is that what happened, Dolly?
I beg your pardon.
No problem. No, but Dolly is a fantastic person. Whenever she gets a chance, she gives me a chance to give her a lift to her home. So I get 20 minutes extra with her.
But that was Rohini Hatangadi Urai, who played Kasturba and Rami, so that was a coincidence of some kind.
Then also we had people like Prakash Tandon, who was the first chairman of Hindustan Lever. That time, of course, it was Hindustan Lever. So he was the first chairman. So he was also part of the founding 36. 36 of them. Only 2 are today alive. One, of course, is Vishnubai, and one Swaran Kohli. Both of them were so excited to come and speak because they have interacted with Ramkrishna Ji for so many years. So they were very, very keen. But at least Vishnubai is there. You will get a chance to hear him. And as was mentioned by Swapnil, he goes to office daily. And he was my chairman in Bajaj Electricals as the chairman of the audit committee for many years. I had to force him at the age of 90 that you better now retire. Shailesh told me that I have told him many times, but he's not listening. So I said, try once more. I think he's done enough for the company and for himself. Let him now take it easy. But he's still very much there. Thank you very much, Vishnu Bhai, for being here. I would, of course, Swapnil will mention it, but I would say that there's an exhibition on in Bajaj Bhavan. It is on till 12th of October, every day from 11 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening. And it's a good whole story about the freedom movement and Ramkrishna's role in that. And I think it will be something useful to see. And there CABP has been put into a very, very strong, as soon as you enter, first you start with CABP. Now we made that time, in 66, 68, JRD Tata, Ramkrishna Bajaj, all these people made a code of conduct. And I have seen those code of conduct, 10 code of conduct, which has been graphically made there, which will be available when you go and see it, that they can be followed. They were very practical, you can make all this type of speeches you want, political speeches, which cannot be implemented. So there's no idea having those. So if you look at those 10 code of conduct that was created, all of them can be followed. Like for example, they did not put in the code of conduct, do not bribe. I'm just giving you as an example. They know that it's not a good thing not to bribe. But putting in the code of conduct that you please follow and don't give bribe is something which cannot be implemented in today's circumstances. You can say, I will not do it to get benefit out of it. Nowadays you give bribe not to be harassed. It's not for your benefit, it is not to be harassed. That my shipment is going and suddenly he says, open all the packages, otherwise I won't let the shipment go. Now what do you do? So what I'm trying to say is that they made it very, very carefully, the code of conduct, and I would really tell you that if you go there, you really think it's something worth it, how things worked out. Harsh Goenka was also going to speak. He's gone out of India because his family was associated with our family for the last 100 years. So he would know a lot about it. Of course, Dolly is going to speak. Roger is the one who's going to be the most interesting as far as I am concerned, because he and Ramkrishna ji worked a lot. Again, the same logic. He says, what do we get into? So only two organizations he considered, CABP and ASCI. Reason was that advertising was, again, there was no way to check it up, whether advertising was good or bad. So this Advertising Standards Council has become so strong that I was telling Roger that ASCI has become very big. They've got now expanded to a lot of other activities also.
It's the largest in the world today.
It's largest in the world today. Wow. So you imagine that, good thought and a good commitment can create something which is really world class. And Roger, I will not give you any time frame. You can speak as long as you want. Others get bored, that's their problem. As far as I'm concerned, it is something which we would like to hear, because that is something which is very, very useful. Just for information, giving you a little background about him, he was the youngest son of my grandfather Jamnalal Bajaj and Janki Devi Bajaj. He was born on the day when my grandfather Jamnalal Bajaj was released from the Nagpur jail for his Nagpur flag satyagraha in 1923. So in 1923, my grandfather got released and that day he was born. So you can imagine that he was, from the day one, the seeds of freedom movement was sown in him. He was brought under the personal guidance of Mahatma Gandhi, Acharya Vinoba Bhave. Vinoba Bhave is the well-known saint who for 18 years went on foot all over the country collecting land. That's why it's called Bhudan movement. Collecting land from the rich people and giving it to the poor, landless people. For 18 years he moved all over India, did lakhs of acres of land and gave it to the poor. So that's called the Bhudan movement, and he was also in prison. He was also in Wardha, where my grandfather and all were brought up. And that's where my father got a chance to meet them. The values and teaching carved the way for his philanthropic approach and ethical living. Although he belonged to an affluent family, he was taught to embrace simplicity, hard work, and discipline from a young age. No flaw was too hard. You'll say, what does this mean? I don't understand. What used to happen is that whether it's Jawaharlal Nehru or Sardar Patel or Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, they would visit, and all the Congress Working Committee meeting used to take place at Wardha. And if suppose there was no space, then he would take his pillow and sit and sleep in some corner. That's why no hard bed was required, and that time khadi was quite coarse. Today what I'm wearing is also khadi shirt, just for information. So it's very smart, and now it's nice and soft. That time it was coarse khadi, but today, just for information, even today, 2 crore people in the villages and small places are surviving by spinning cotton, spinning khadi. So when we think that khadi is now outdated, we need to go for all these imported and all clothes. It was that time, that's why Gandhiji said that, Swadeshi movement came up, and that you use your local fabric and local this thing, and therefore one other thing which we are going to have, which is still to be, we'll announce it later, but 17th, my grandmother is going to complete 130 years, Janki Devi Bajaj. She got the Padma Vibhushan in 1956, the first lady to get the Padma Vibhushan. So on her 130th birthday, is on 7th of January, we are going to have a Khadi exhibition in Bajaj Bhavan, 7th, 8th, 9th. So we are going to have, nowadays we are very upset that, they call it Khadi, but now Khadi has also become a little polluted, if I use the word. You know what is called polyvastra. they have khadi cloth, then you have polyester, you mix the two and make polyvastra, which is available in the khadi bandar. So this, purity, to continue, everybody said, let me make quick money, that's the big problem. So that's how one has to keep that particular aspect in mind. So he used to have people like Sardar Patel, then Rajendra Prasad, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, Acharya Kriplani, Nehru, Rajaji, Subhash Chandra Bose, Sarojini Naidu, all of them used to stay with us. And if there was no space, then of course you knew my father and uncle had to, and they spent a lot of time in jail. Like at the age of 17, he said Quit India movement was in 42. I'm sorry if I'm going too long, or is it okay? Is it okay? Okay, 5 more minutes maybe. But 1942 was the Quit India movement. My father in 41 wanted to join the Quit India movement, but Gandhiji said, you are underage, after 18 you can join. So he went and fought with him and he says, no, you please allow me. If you don't allow me, and for some reason we gain independence before I can join the movement, I will never forgive that. So
It made him use the charka for 1 month.
yeah. So he was then allowed to participate below 18. He was the only freedom fighters to start before 18, and between 42 and 46 he spent most of his time in jail. So he could not go to college, but he was taught by Dada Dharmadhikari, by Vinobaji, taught him Sanskrit, and when you go to that exhibition, they've made a jail just to show his routine from 5 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock, how he would do discipline. He learned English, he learned Hindi, he would do his yoga and all that. So those type of things were imbibed with him since his young ages. Another interesting thing was that time there were no planes and all, so they would always travel by third class train. So he would be the one who would go along with Gandhiji all over the country. Now what was the job of him? He was carrying his luggage. So if everybody say, who is this young man? He says, he is my coolie. So because of that, he was very proud to be called Gandhi's coolie. And therefore, a well-known writer, M.V. Kamath, he wrote a book on him called Gandhi's Coolie. There's the only book written about him called Gandhi's Coolie. So he had to go. Now what was his job? One, of course, bring the luggage, keep it in the compartment. Then Gandhiji would go, and every time he'll stop at every station. People will come to meet him. So whoever wanted an autograph had to pay 5 rupees. Otherwise somebody wanted to pay 1 rupee, 50 paisa, whatever it is. And my father's job was to collect all the money and quickly count it, and before the next stop, he had to inform Gandhiji that yes, we collected 52 rupees and 50 paisa in that particular station, and note it down. So that's how his name became Gandhi's Coolie. These are small things, but these are things which have an impact, and that's what is very important for people, young people like you, to become something very interesting. Then he joined in 1952. He joined the family business. He was different from Kamandanji. There were two brothers. Kamandanji is Rahul Bajaj's father. So Kamandanji was a pure businessman. All the businesses, because my grandfather, he died in 1942. So from 42 to 72, 30 years, Kamandan Bajaj, Rahul Bajaj's father, was the head of the group. And my grandfather died at the age of 53. Kamandanji also died at the age of 57, very young, in 72. Suddenly in 72, my father became head of the group. He died in 94. But during that period was the time where he was very clear. My uncle was very much interested in business. He was not interested. He was more interested in this philanthropy. So all these organizations which was created, and the amount of work he did for rural development, and the well-known Jamnalal Bajaj Awards which was created. You will say, why was this awards created? Because I think most of you would not know also. We all had a family meeting. We said, what should we do to take care of Jamnalal Bajaj's vision and his dedication? We realized that we are not Gandhians. We are not living that simple life that we can talk about. My father and uncle, okay, they did, but not Rahul Bajaj. Down the line, all of us are not fitting into that. But one thing which we can do is we can locate people who have sacrificed their lives to do social work or do Gandhian work. You can choose them, which otherwise you cannot. They are sitting in one corner doing their work with no expectation of any award or anything. They are not, because if you are wanting and waiting for an award, then you are not a real social worker. Then you are doing it for your getting an award. But when you are doing it award because you feel like doing it because you want to do it for your own self-satisfaction, that is called real thing. So therefore they would not, when you say, okay, so our job was to find somebody who would nominate their name. So they would not themselves go and apply. They would not apply that, okay, I want award. We had to go and find that those type of people who are really working with all their heart and soul, and with that this Jamnalal Bajaj Awards came into play, and therefore we've got such a fantastic jury. We've got former ISRO chief and others are there. We've got people who are, and the jury would be taking the final decision. Like just now, I'm after Rahul Bhai, I'm the chairman of the Jamnalal Bajaj Foundation, but basically that was something which is independent, and therefore the decision to find a winner was something which was appreciated by people, and therefore we got all the top people, prime ministers and presidents and governors and others who have come as chief guests. So that is something which we have it every year. Jamnalal Bajaj awards, which are 4 awards are given. And that is something where it is given independently, and now from this year, because it's 100 years, and my father started in 1977, the Jamnalal Bajaj Awards, is something which has now become, we give one award also for, we give 3 awards. One of them is an international award. That 4th award is for those who are doing work on the basis of Gandhian thoughts. They don't have to use the word Gandhi, but I mean on that basis, on the basis of sacrifice, this thing, one of them is given outside India by a non-Indian to be given to him. And one of the winners has been Nelson Mandela also. He was in Calcutta and he was given that award there. Then of course he was president of FICCI, president of Indian National, this thing of IMC, of India, ICC, International Chamber of Commerce. He was also president of IMC. The code of conduct which FICCI introduced was something which was formulated by CFBP. Our initial, which will, if you go to the exhibition, you'll see that was actually created by CFBP, which was accepted by FICCI. So that is something that's very interesting. Then you were the president of Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce also. Now, not only did he wear khadi, but all his children, including myself, till the age of 21, I used to wear khadi. But the interesting thing is that's easy. You wear khadi at home. I studied in a boarding school called Doon School, which is an elite school. You must have heard the name.
Of course.
There he took special permission from the headmaster of the school to allow me to wear khadi in Doon School. So all my dresses, all my uniform was all made with khadi. Now these are interesting things, but it shows that if you are dedicated, then you know, people say, how can you get it? we have our own dress regulation. We say we'll do the same color, everything, whatever you want, but it will be made out of khadi cloth. Then he always felt that the most difficult thing which now a lot of people are doing is about hunger. A lot of poor people are dying of hunger. So he supported a thing which started in USA. Now I don't think it exists. It's called the Hunger Project. The Hunger Project was started in USA. So he went all over and created chapters to promote Hunger Project. Then lot of work has been done in a place called Wardha. Wardha was the place where Jamnalal ji was born in adoption. We are from Rajasthan originally, but Wardha is a place near Nagpur. So there is where Jamnalal ji came in adoption. So that's where we say, where are you from? We are from, technically we are from Wardha. We always say we are from Wardha. And when Gandhiji left Sabarmati, Gujarat, for his salt satyagraha, that was in 1931-32, at that time it was very clearly stated that he will not come back to Gujarat till he attains freedom. So then Jamnalal ji invited him to Wardha, and the Sevagram ashram, which again if you go to Wardha, please, we'll be very happy to have you as our guest. We got all the arrangements, we'll take care of everything. You just say we are coming and we'll take care. You have to land in Nagpur. From Nagpur we'll have you picked up and taking you around. If anyone is interested, please come and see the type of thing which is still the legacy of, and that Sevagram ashram where Bapu lived for 15 years. He came in 33, 34 till 47 when he was, till 48. He used to live in Sevagram, which was our village, which we gave it to him. So that is the Sevagram, and even Vinod Bhave used to stay in Wardha. So there we are running education institute called Shiksha Mandal, which again he was the chairman. Now most of that work of Wardha is being taken care by me. Now my father never retired from philanthropic work. He delegated all his business-related duties and would tell us to do well in business. Why? So he could spend more money in social causes. A lot of people say, I don't want to, and therefore we have always said, earning is our karma. We are baniyas, so we are supposed to make money, that's our job. And spending has got nothing to do with it. So in terms of your lifestyle, you say, oh, because I'm earning 1 crore rupees, I can go and spend 10 lakhs rupees. Sorry, in our family that was not on. In our family even now, you can't go around. Now of course we are not living in that simplicity, but the type of situation which we are seeing is something which is still there, because we say that, and of course we are not following it, but Gandhiji used to say, when I thought of trusteeship, I always thought of Jamnalal ji. When he passed away, Jamnalal ji, in 1942, for the Bajaj family, the total wealth that he left behind was only 13 lakhs, which has become a few lakhs now. Crore. Few lakh crore. Now he was something, our family, we are now in the 5th generation and still families together, which is very rare. Normally after 3rd generation families split. The reason is that when he was there, the head of the family between 1972 to 1994, we all were considered as one family. He did not differentiate between me and Rahul Bhai or Shishir, or all of us were considered same. We didn't even realize that we are actually cousins, but we were brought up together. And when business came, he said very clearly, if there's a difference between me and Rahul, please listen to Rahul. That is the type of thing. That's why the family is together with love and affection. And also, most of the time, I'm giving you something which is outside the Bajaj, Ramkrishna Bajaj, is that most of the problems come because you become greedy. Most of the problems come when you go and spend and compare. Oh, he's spending 100, I'll spend 200. He says 200, I'll spend 500. So because of that, because we were kept under financial control, if I use the word, because of which we were able to stay together, because all of us are equally having the pleasure of living and enjoying, and therefore there's no funds problem. But we always said that funds are to be used for the betterment of people, and therefore we are doing a lot of work on the CSR activity. One other thing which my grandfather used to say, that when the left hand is giving the money or right hand is giving the money, the left hand should not know. And because of which, when you list of philanthropic groups are coming or companies are coming, you won't find our name anywhere there. We are saying we are doing it because we want to do it. We've got nothing to do to say, oh, we are the maximum CSR spenders. So we do quietly, and we've now decided that we are spending 70% of our CSR funds for skilling. Because we find that the most difficult thing is to get a job. And therefore 10,000 people are, special colleges, special institutions are being created, and 70% of the CSR budget is being spent for skilling. So we are saying let's spend, because if people get skilled to do jobs. Today the problem is that I am having a lot of vacancies. A lot of people are out of job who are looking for jobs, but they're not skilled to do the job. Getting good people is a big issue. I think all of us must be facing that particular problem. So I think I have spoken too much more than my time. I'm sorry about that, but anyway, I thought I would like to share with you, and thank you very much.